would say mediocre budget mostly because I think infrastructure definitely is seeing a lot of investments come in. There is a push on affordable housing through allocation to the NHB, and of course more money in the pocket of the consumer. However, I think what still kind of is lacking is basically supply side dynamics. We have seen the supply of real estate hitting the country dwindle. Over the last 1 year, we have seen almost 60% drop in terms of new launches that are hitting the market. And that clearly, is one area which needs some impetus in terms of being able to, drive more supply into the market and ease out, some price pressures in terms of developers, so that the consumers, where the demand is there, but the closures are less. So we are seeing the demand has been there, seen an uptick post the budget, post the government coming in, but closures is something that of course hasn't seen an uptick in terms of absorption.
I would think that the budget is fairly directional in nature, and it's also, I would say, right on intent and right on content as well. Purely from the point of view that I think when the Prime Minister of the FM just started to speak, I think it will be a very, very relevant and very important aspect to say that we will not do retrospective tax amendments. So from an overseas investor perspective, that's a very strong statement, and also the fact that that they said that we clearly become looking at a predictable and a stable tax regime to come up with. And in the context of that, if you look at the changes which have been done on the FDI side of it, on the REIT aspects of it, so that kind of clearly helps us from a point of view of liquidity, getting more inflows in the sector, as well as the access to real estate in India, getting more in the hands of the retail investors also. Because from an REIT perspective, that would help in that direction. And affordable housing also, they've been I would say, clearly if you look at it from three perspectives, one is that slum development has been identified as one, including the CSR aspect of it, and the second,
which was a demand,
demand as well there, and it just helps private developers to get in there, and also from the point of view of the fact that FDI is kind of completely exempted, for the minimum requirements which are there around it, and the third from the point of view of creation of that surplus from the fund, rather 4,000 crore fund with the National Housing Bank.
Been an overall laying out the vision of the government kind of budget. So it's the first budget of the government done within 45 days, I think. So, but it's a holistic budget, I would say. It lays out the vision in terms of the growth, the fiscal consolidation, and sector specific things, augmenting domestic capital flows with foreign investments. So all those things, aspects are there. Plus things like skill development and tourist circuits, and also it kind of addresses some things across the board. With respect to real estate per se, the positives of course are the FDI policy, the affordable housing, the size requirement not being there, the real estate investment trust, the slum development being part of the CSR. There's a great focus on urban renewal as well. So, supplying power, water, what the government should be doing. Fiscal consolidation ultimately will mean, your interest rates get under control. So all that will ultimately help real estate in the medium to long term, is my
say the time that the government has had was a bit too little, and the task that they have and the shape in which the economy that they got from the earlier government, I think this is the best that anybody could do. But I would not really call it a budget. I would call it basically a kind of a wish list which has again been expanded. Now it means that someone really wants to do this and somebody wants to do that, and so on and so forth. Of course, there are certain omissions also, and certain straight, clear-cut directives which could have come, say that retrospective tax and things like that. That, in my opinion, should have been taken away. But I think there are right wishes that have been put. Now, this very budget can become one of the best budgets ever produced, provided there are certain accompanying tasks that the government undertakes to start implementing. That is going to be the key to the success to the whole thing. There is a kind of an over-reliance on public-private partnership. The climate is yet to be made, I would use the word quote-unquote, sanitized. It has to be made conducive so that somebody could come and really take on the PPP type of projects.
I think the budget is great.
a very clear statement on retrospective tax amendments, comforting a lot of business community at large, including the foreign investors. The proposal for having the advance ruling mechanism for resident taxpayers, a very, very welcome move. Now, coming back to something which would affect, the individual taxpayers, the basic exemption increase to some extent, leaving some more money, some extra money with everyone. The deduction for housing loan interest for self-occupied property, I think it was long pending expectation. The threshold, the ceiling is increased from 1.5 lakhs to 2 lakhs. The REIT piece, very interesting proposals there, to treat the investments, at par with equities, listed equities, where, gains over 12 months would be tax exempt and, 15% tax rate for short-term capital gains.
Yeah.
So all this looks very positive.
Yeah. For the industry, what was the industry expecting and what hasn't come through?
So, one of the expectations was, the surcharge part. There was an expectation that this government will probably do away with the surcharge. That has not happened. But I think, he had to work a little tightrope also in terms of, the revenue estimates and to, and manage that, with whatever he has done or whatever he has offered, he has retained that surcharge, which a lot of people are expecting, that it would go away.
Yeah.
But otherwise than that, I think very much in line with, or maybe more than what people expected. As I mentioned, the advance ruling, very, very comforting to the business community at large.
See, we expect many things every year.
Yeah.
And the good news is that this year, some things that we were expecting happened.
Yeah.
Though they may not have happened in the quantum that we had asked for and in the way we had asked for. But having said that, things have happened, and this is the first step, is the first budget of the government. And I must compliment the finance minister because it sets a positive tone. It sets a tone, a feeling of that, okay, we know that you have concerns and pain. We know that this industry, this sector can generate jobs, it can contribute to the GDP, it can contribute to manufacturing. So this has been accepted. So much so that the finance minister has gone on to say in the budget speech that we understand the recommendations of the housing industry and we will look into this going forward. He said something to that extent. So I think it's a very, very positive step from the government side.
So today budget has boosted the sentiment. Gentleman was talking that he has got some 20,000-30,000 rupees in hand, making limit 1.5 to 2 lakhs, but I am really afraid PF limit has also increased from 1 to 1.5 lakhs. So whatever he is going to save there, he is going to invest it. But still, budget is in positive sentiment, so we are expecting a better.
A larger one on the real estate sector word is used for the first time. I have never seen a budget where real estate sector has been discussed and issues related to REITs and what requires to be done to make REIT as an investment product into the real estate project is a welcome sign. I hope this has been a long pending thing. It's already so popular all over the Asia Pacific region. India has not got it up so far. Substantial amount of investment can come into this particular region.
We look at it largely positive budget, which will actually help real estate industry because most of the issues have been addressed when it comes to direct issues.
Right.
Other than only, I think one thing which is left out is the online clearance mechanism which we have been demanding, so that the projects can be cleared within 1 or 2 months instead of 2 to 3 years, and through a multiple window system and compliance mechanism, which is a hell of a cost to the industry.